Okay, let's picture this. You're young, you're totally in love, engaged, and then the people you trust most, they tell you it's wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, way's not good enough, not enough money, not the right background.
Right, so you give him up.
Yeah. And years go by just filled with this ache, this regret, and then bam, he's back, successful, everyone wants him. What on earth do you do then?
That's it, isn't it? That's the core of Jane Austen's Persuasion. It hits that really deep nerve, that what-if feeling, and, the messy reality of getting a second chance.
Totally. And that's our deep dive today. You've brought together some amazing stuff for us, bits from the novel itself, character notes, academic takes on social class, Wikipedia details, and even those really interesting comments you shared about the movie versions.
Yeah, it's a great mix. It lets us see Persuasion not just as Austen wrote it, but how it's been sort of chewed over and interpreted by readers, scholars, movie makers.
So our plan here is to dig into all this material you provided and pull out the key stuff, the things you really need to grasp the world of Persuasion. We want to get inside the characters' heads, unpack the big themes, and figure out why this story still grabs us, sometimes brilliantly on screen, sometimes less so. Ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with the pain. Anne Elliot, Captain Wentworth, young, in love, engaged. We know that from the text you gave us. So what was the reason it all fell apart the first time?
Well, the sources really hammer home this idea of persuasion. It wasn't really Anne deciding for herself, not entirely. She was convinced by people she trusted, her father, Sir Walter, and her godmother, Lady Russell.
Convinced it was just wrong.
Fundamentally wrong, yeah. And the big issue, which your sources highlight about the society back then, was Captain Wentworth had no fortune. Simple as that, almost.
Right. Sir Walter Elliot, who sounds like quite a character from your notes, completely wrapped up in his vanity of person and of situation.
Oh, yes. He saw it as very degrading, a terrible alliance for an Elliot.
And Lady Russell. Maybe her reasons were a bit more complex.
Perhaps slightly more understandable, yeah, but just as firm. She saw it as a most unfortunate match. Risky.
That quote you pulled from the novel really says it all. Anne was persuaded to believe the engagement a wrong thing. Indiscreet, improper, hardly capable of success, and not deserving. External pressure, basically.
Exactly. And the consequences were huge. The sources make it clear this wasn't just a little heartbreak. It led to years of sadness for Anne, that early loss of bloom and spirits.
More than 7 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, over 7 years where she felt kind of stuck, no real chance for a change of place or meeting new people, and enlargement of society, as the text puts it, just stagnant.
And stuck with a family that just didn't get her. Looking at Sir Walter and her older sister Elizabeth, based on your sources, wow, they seem pretty awful.
Sir Walter is all about the surface, isn't he? Looks, his title, the baronetcy, but completely clueless about managing money. It's telling that he finds little to admire in Anne. She doesn't reflect his own vanity.
And Elizabeth sounds like she's cut from the same cloth. Vain, obsessed with status, and annoyed that being broke is cramping her style.
It's pretty stark in the text, their disregard for Anne, like when they're figuring out how to save money. It says Anne never seemed considered by the others as having any interest in the question.
Ouch. Only Lady Russell even asks her opinion.
Right. And later, when her sister Mary needs her, Elizabeth just dismisses her. Nobody will want her in Bath. It's just cold indifference.
With that money trouble, the debt, it actually forces a big change. They have to leave Kellynch Hall. Rent it out.
Yep, vanity finally hits the brick wall of debt. For a while anyway. And who moves in? Admiral and Mrs. Croft. Naval people.
And the Admiral takes possession with true naval alertness, you noted. Sir Walter, hilariously, finds the Admiral's rank soothing. Even his snobbery gives way a bit when there's rank and money involved.
And Admiral speaks his own consequence, as he puts it. Shows his priorities, doesn't it?
And of course, who shows up with the Crofts?
Captain Wentworth. Back again. But changed. No longer the officer with no fortune. Now he's successful, lucky in his profession. Although, the sources do mention he spent freely, so maybe still a little bit impulsive, not entirely changed, perhaps.
His return throws Anne right into a new social scene, doesn't it? Through her sister Mary, who married Charles Musgrove.
Exactly. And the Musgroves are totally different from the Elliots. Your sources describe them as more completely popular, lots of parties, dancing, very lively.
Anne notices that shift immediately. A total change of conversation, opinion, and idea.
Yeah.
At Uppercross, their home. All the important stuff from Kellynch. Unknown or unconsidered here.
It's a bit of a reality check for her, she thinks. A lesson in knowing our own nothingness beyond our own circle. Humbling.
But her place at Uppercross isn't exactly easy either. Her sister Mary sounds, well, a bit needy.
Definitely attention-seeking, always feeling slighted, using illness to get waited on, and she leans on Anne a lot.
Yeah, and Anne ends up playing the piano for dances, feeling kind of alone, because the Musgroves only really care about their own daughter's playing. It's another way she's just there, but not fully valued.
Meanwhile, Wentworth is very much there, and he's interacting a lot with the Musgrove girls, Henrietta and Louisa.
He actually admits, doesn't he, to trying whether he could attach himself to either of the girls?
He does. It suggests he's trying to move past Anne, maybe find someone, but perhaps not thinking too hard about the potential fallout, the risk of exciting unpleasant reports, if not raising unrequited regard.
Through Wentworth, Anne also meets his naval friends in Lyme Regis, Captain Harville and Captain Benwick.
Right. Harville sounds lovely, sensible, benevolent. Benwick is younger, quite melancholy, loves poetry. He's grieving.
And Anne finds something appealing in the Harvilles' cozy home life, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Thinking, these would have been all my friends.
It says a lot about what she feels she's missing.
It really does. And then Lyme is where everything changes dramatically. That incident on the Cobb.
Ah, yes, Louisa Musgrove, showing off her vaunted firmness by insisting Wentworth jump her down those steps, even though he advised against it. And then
She falls. Badly. Taken up lifeless. The irony is just dripping, isn't it? Her firmness leads to disaster.
total chaos follows. But Anne, she's amazing. The description says she had everything to do at once. Getting help, comforting people, managing things, completely calm under pressure.
The Harvilles are wonderful too, immediately helpful. Such a contrast to her own family's likely reaction.
Definitely. And even Wentworth sees Anne's capability. He acknowledges she was the properest person to fetch a surgeon.
But this whole thing really messes with Wentworth's head, doesn't it?
Oh, completely. He feels entangled. He realizes people now see him as basically engaged to Louisa. Maybe even Louisa herself thinks so. He feels trapped, not free in honor.
He regrets being so familiar with his sisters.
Yeah, his excessive intimacy. He sees he was grossly wrong to sort of flirt with them without considering the consequences. His penance, as he calls it, had become severe. He's really paying for his carelessness now.
So while Louisa is recovering, Anne eventually heads to Bath, even though her sister Elizabeth thought, rather unkindly, that nobody will want her in Bath.
She goes with Lady Russell, and she's maybe, possibly, hoping she might run into Wentworth. But he's busy elsewhere, it seems.
And instead, she meets someone else significant in Bath, Mr. William Elliot, Sir Walter's heir.
And Lady Russell is quite impressed at first, isn't she? Sees him as this agreeable or estimable man, good head on his shoulders, knows the world, seems warm-hearted, a widower, paying attention to Anne.
Looks good on paper. But Anne gets the real story, doesn't she? From her old school friend, Mrs. Smith.
Yes. Mrs. Smith, who's fallen on hard times, living quietly in Bath, recovering from illness, she gives Anne the lowdown.
And it's not pretty. Mr. Elliot is actually a cold, calculating opportunist.
Absolutely. Underneath that charm, Mrs. Smith reveals how he basically abandoned her and her husband, his supposed friend, when they needed him most. Used them, then dropped them. She calls him black at heart, hollow in black. Strong words.
Wow. And Mrs. Smith also figures out his real reasons for being in Bath, right? It's not just about charming the Elliots or Anne.
Exactly. Based on what she's heard, partly through her nurse Rook, she explains that, yes, he did notice Anne back in Lyme and admired her. That was a motive.
There was an earlier motive.
Precisely. His main game was strategic. He needed to stop Mrs. Clay Elizabeth's companion from actually marrying Sir Walter.
Why? Because if they had a son...
Then Mr. Elliot wouldn't inherit the baronetcy. He'd lose the title, the status, the whole thing he'd apparently learned to pin his happiness upon. He couldn't stand the thought of not being Sir William.
So his main goal was just to keep an eye on Sir Walter and Mrs. Clay. Fascinatingly manipulative.
It really is. And all this drama is playing out while Sir Walter and Elizabeth are busy trying to suck up to their rich cousins, Lady Dalrymple and her daughter.
Oh, the desperate social climbing. Anne finds it mortifying, doesn't she?
Totally. She wishes they had more self-respect, more pride. She feels this indignation that makes her too proud to enjoy a welcome, which depends so entirely upon place. It really shows her own integrity growing.
And Mr. Elliot plays right into their vanity, encouraging them, even telling Anne their shared pride is about keeping Sir Walter away from unsuitable people like Mrs. Clay. So clever, so deceitful.
And yet most people don't see it. Lady Russell thinks his desire to reconnect with the family is genuine. Mrs. Smith even told Anne she assumed Anne would marry him, that there was nothing else to be done. Shows how well he kept up appearances.
He even compliments Anne to Lady Russell, calling her extraordinary, maybe genuinely impressed by her quiet strength or her kindness to Mrs. Smith, or maybe just playing the game.
Hard to tell with him, isn't it? But Anne knows the truth now.
Okay, so the plot thickens. Captain Wentworth finally turns up in Bath, just as Admiral Croft was wishing he would, conveniently.
Timing is everything in Austen. And then soon after, the Musgroves arrive too, and they've got news.
Big news. Louisa is engaged, but not to Wentworth.
Nope. To Captain Benwick, the poetry-loving, melancholy one.
Anne's a bit surprised by that, isn't she? Thinks they're quite different. Minds most dissimilar.
Yeah, she wonders if it was just the situation being thrown together while Louisa recovered at Lyme. She even speculates they might have fallen in love over poetry. A nice little touch.
But she doesn't seem upset by it. Or suspicious.
Not really. She doesn't doubt they could be happy, and she sees no betrayal or anything between Wentworth and Benwick. But crucially, it means Wentworth is free, though neither he nor Anne quite processes that immediately.
So now they're both in Bath, both single. Their paths start crossing more. That first meeting in Milsom Street. Anne speaks first, you noted.
She does. Takes the initiative. Later, at the pump room, she approaches him again, and he finally asks about her. Small steps.
Then there's the concert. That sounds like a tense scene.
Mm.
Anne sitting with Mr. Elliot.
Yeah, the smooth, deceitful Mr. Elliot. And Wentworth sees them together. You can just imagine what's going through his mind, seeing her apparently close to this guy.
And that leads into that really fascinating conversation Anne has with Captain Harville about men versus women and constancy in love.
Oh, that's classic Austen. Anne argues that women's feelings may be quieter on the surface are most tender because they live at home, quiet, confined. Their feelings prey upon us more intensely, while men have careers and distractions that soon weaken impressions.
But Harville pushes back hard, right? Saying men's feelings are actually stronger, they suffer more when leaving family, they feel more joy coming home, based on his own life at sea.
It's a great debate. Are feelings shaped more by social roles, or are they fundamentally different?
And right in the middle of this intense discussion, Wentworth drops his pen.
Right nearby. It's such a subtle physical cue, suggesting he's not just overhearing, he's listening. Really listening. Maybe applying it all to himself and Anne.
And then immediately after, he seems really worked up. Folding a letter quickly, looking hurried, agitated, doesn't even look at Anne.
Yeah, leaving her totally confused and worried. What just happened? What was in that letter?
Just before the resolution, there's that little social detail. Elizabeth Elliot finally decides Wentworth is presentable enough for Bath society.
Yes, she realizes his air and appearance add value, so she invites him to their party. His reaction is perfect, a momentary expression of contempt. He sees right through it.
Okay, but finally, the breakthrough. Wentworth manages to talk to Anne properly, and he just spills everything.
Yes. He explains how awful he felt after Lyme, feeling startled and shocked that everyone thought he was basically engaged to Louisa, feeling honor-bound if she wanted him.
And seeing her with Mr. Elliot at that concert.
That was agony for him. Seeing her with someone who, as he says, wasn't one of his well-wishers, feeling all the social pressure, the horrible eligibilities and proprieties that seemed to favor Elliot.
And he owns up to his mistakes, his pride from years ago.
Yeah.
Saying he did not understand her, would not understand her, or do you justice, calls himself a fool.
It's incredibly raw and honest. And he says something really poignant about how it's almost painful now to learn to brook being happier than I deserve. Like he doesn't feel worthy of this second chance.
And Anne's response, just perfect.
Simple, powerful. Would I? With that decisive accent. That's all he needs. Everything is finally out in the open.
So if we look back at the journeys, based on all the material you shared, Anne's transformation is pretty remarkable. From being easily persuaded, kind of crushed, to finding this quiet strength, this inner firmness. You see it at Lyme. You see it in how she judges Mr. Elliot.
Definitely. And Wentworth's journey is just as important. He has to confront his own pride, his carelessness with the Musgroves, his massive misjudgment of Anne all those years ago. He really has to learn humility.
Well, characters like Sir Walter and Elizabeth, they just don't change, do they? Still trapped by vanity, by status. They're like a warning.
Exactly. And through them all, Austen keeps hitting these big themes that your sources pull out. The way class and money shape everything, the damage vanity can do, and of course, love, loyalty, constancy, and second chances.
It's clear why it resonates. And the adaptation comments you provided really show that. Huge love for the 1995 version Amanda Root, Ciarán Hinds. People felt it captured the essence, Root's transformation, Hinds' depth.
Yeah, faithfulness seems key for many fans. The Sally Hawkins version also got praise for conveying Anne's emotions. Even that slightly controversial running scene felt right to some.
But the 2022 Netflix one,
Hmm.
not so much, based on those comments. Funny but also cringy was the verdict, mainly due to lack of faithfulness.
Seems so. Making Anne a binge drinker, things like that, felt very disrespectful to the character Austen created. It really highlights how protective readers feel about these characters and the tone of the novel.
Interesting. The fact that people are still discussing the 71 BBC version or getting excited about a Wentworth puzzle,
Hmm.
it shows how deep the connection goes.
It absolutely does. Persuasion clearly isn't just a story people read, it's one they feel very deeply about.
So, thinking about all that suffering, Anne and Wentworth's 8 years apart, sparked by that initial persuasion, it makes you wonder, doesn't it, how much was just unavoidable social pressure back then and how much was, well, maybe down to them.
That's a great question. Their own pride, definitely Wentworth's pride. Maybe Anne's initial lack of self-confidence, their inability to just talk honestly at crucial moments. If they'd understood themselves or each other just a bit better back then, how different might things have been, what do you think?